guys, big breaking news coming out. World War III update. The US president announces from the Oval Office that he has made the decision to provide Tomahawk missile to Ukraine. Man. Alright, for those of you that know Tomahawk, you know Tomahawk missiles. There's a reason why Joe Biden didn't send those Tomahawk missiles. And you guys know, Joe sent billions of dollars. He sent a lot of equipment, weapons and stuff like that. But he didn't have the gut to send the Tomahawk. And there's a reason why. Because this would spark WW3. The U.S. commander, well, today announces from the Oval Office that he has made the decision to provide BGM-109 Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles, which have a range of between 500 up to 1,500 miles. So that means that Ukraine could fire a Tomahawk missile and it could hit Moscow. It could hit deep into Russian territory. All right, so once again, it says here up to 500 or up to 1,500 miles to Ukraine. So it says here, but states that he still has some questions about how they will be used. And what Russian targets will be, oh, come on, Donald. And what Russian targets will be struck by the Ukrainian armed forces. Oh my goodness. I guarantee if Joe was still commander-in-chief sending Tomahawk, many Americans, including MAGA, will be flipping out right now. They would be flipping out and saying we're going to go to WW3. Wow. This is not a good thing, guys. This is not a good thing. So we're going to see what's going on here, guys. We have more breaking news. Hold on. Breaking news. Breaking news. The U.S. Commander-in-Chief considering the use emergency powers to bypass courts and deploy troops. Deploy troops to Portland and Chicago. I don't know, guys. Things are going to hit the fan. I mean, it's going to get biblical. All right. We talking about biblical wars. All right. For those of you that know Tomahawk, you know Tomahawk. All right. That's no joke. Tomahawk is one of the, our best powerful cruise missiles. Very powerful. That thing did damage to Iran nuclear facility along with the bunker busters. All right, guys, before I start, for those of you that want to send us letters or prayer requests, you can send it to me, US Santiago, or my wife, Jessica Santiago, at 3432 US Highway 19, number 2, Holiday, Florida, 34691. And for those of you that want to contribute to the channel, we do have the Cash App link and the PayPal link in the comments box and also description box. Thank you again for your support. Your support is what keeps us on air. Look, guys, I'm not bashing the Donald here, but I'm a type of person that I keep it real. All right. With Joe, he was sending a whole bunch of equipment. And again, for those of you that follow me for the past couple of years, I was not down with that. I don't agree in this biblical war. We should not be sticking our nose in this biblical war. That's not ours. All right. We got problems here within our sleeping giant. But again, I was not in favor of sending all these money equipments to Ukraine. And now Donald, well, he's doing the same thing, and I'm not down with that. It's just not right. It's not, it's none of our business. So he's gonna send Tomahawk missiles, and basically he's saying, but I want to know who's gonna fire it and where this thing is gonna land. So basically, Donald is saying that he's not going to have the button. He's not gonna be pushing the button. All right, Texas Gov said elite Texas National Guard is deploying now. All right, so he's sending the National Guards, his own National Guards, Texas National Guard to, I think, Portland or Chicago. But again, you guys know there's a great battle going on. The governor and mayor of Chicago and Illinois has came out today and said that it ain't going to happen. You're not going to be sending troops. But the Donald, it seems like the Donald is considering to use emergency powers to bypass courts and deploy troops to Portland and Chicago. Man, buckle up. Buckle up. The U.S. commander deploys 300 National Guard to Chicago without governor's consent. It says here, the U.S. commander just federalized Illinois' National Guard for 60 days to protect federal officers and property. Governor J.B. hasn't agreed to the federally funded mobilization, but the U.S. commander doing it anyway. The order gives War Secretary Hegseth power to extend or withdraw troops as needed. They'll perform protective activities to ensure federal law execution. Chicago's crime problem just met federal muscle. The Gov can complain, but the Guard's already rolling in. So get out the way. Get out the way, JB. Get out the way, Mr. Johnson. Chicago is no longer under your, you know what. Breaking news. Breaking news. The U.S. Commander-in-Chief, well, he's planning to bomb Persia again. Persia is rebuilding their nuclear site and is telling Western countries that there will be no more negotiations. Therefore, the U.S. commander is threatening to bomb them again, but the Holy Land may beat him to it. So we're going to get to the full article on this story here. Once again, guys, we do have a lot more here, but let's go with the Tomahawk. All right, let's see what's going on there. So the U.S. commander said on October 6th from the Oval Office that he has sort of made a decision on whether to supply Ukraine with Tomahawk long range. I think I want to find out what they're doing with them, where they're sending them, I guess. I have to ask that question, the U.S. president mused to reporters in the Oval Office. It's like giving NATO nukes. I'm going to give them nukes, but I want to know what they're going to do with it and where they're going to drop it at. It goes to tell you that, again, he's not going to have control of it. It says here, the missiles which were requested by Kiev will serve as a significant boost for Ukraine's arsenal, which largely relies on drones for long-range strikes. Kiev has previously said that the equipment would enable strikes on command centers and supply hubs deep inside Russia. As questions surround a decision on the weapons shipments, the U.S. commander also told reporters that he was not looking to see escalation. Hold on. Wait a minute. Come on, Donald. Okay, so the U.S. commander also told reporter that he was not looking to see escalation. Come on, Donald. Sending those Tomahawk is basically going to start the escalation, is going to spark WW3. It's common sense. I'm gonna send Tomahawks, but I don't want this to escalate. Potential of the bear targets for Tomahawk. Ladies and gentlemen, look at the that thing could go way up there. Again, give me a second here. How many miles radius is this? So Tomahawk could be fired way up here. So it could hit the entire Russian territory. You got Moscow here. So Tomahawk could hit this location. It could hit St. Petersburg. It could hit other regions too. I'm going to send Tomahawk, but I don't want this to escalate. Alright, so it says here, amid the U.S. indecision. Now, again, guys, like I said, if this was Joe sending Tomahawk, MAGA supporters out there, would you be upset? Would you be upset if Joe sent the Tomahawks? Will you be upset if Joe placed those military in multiple cities across America? Well, again, those military is a whole different ballgame. But again, you can be favor in one side and then the other side, not be in favor. Again, if Joe is the one with, sending the Tomahawk, a lot of people, especially MAGA supporter, would have been upset about it. It says here, amid the U.S. indecision, the bear leader Vladimir warned on October the 5th that the positive trend in relations between Russia and the U.S. will be destroyed if Washington sent Tomahawk missile. You hear that? Once again, let me just highlight this. The bear leader Vladimir warned on October the 5th that the positive trend in relations between Russia and the U.S. will be destroyed if Washington sent Tomahawk to Ukraine. All right. So again, Donald want to send the Tomahawks. That means it's over between Vladimir and Donald. What comes next? Well, it's going to be biblical war. Things are going to escalate. It's going to get a lot worse now. The supply of long-range system, including Tomahawks, to Ukraine will lead to the destruction of the emerging positive trend in relation between Russia and the U.S. Vladimir told the news, and U.S. Vice President Vance confirmed on September 28 that the U.S. was looking at providing Kiev with Tomahawk, which have an operational range between 1,600 and 2,500 kilometers. It's something that the president is going to make the final determination on. What the president is going to do is what is the best interest for the U.S. Yeah, the problem is, and you guys said it at the very beginning, we should not be getting involved. Vance, you said it. Donald, you said it, that we're not going to get involved. I mean, this is the reason why millions went for you guys. Because, again, Donald said that he can end this in 24 hours and that we're not going to stick our nose in this biblical war. But the table has changed. And to be honest, this is going to be a lot scarier. See, under Joe, we already knew the stuff that Joe was sending. Under Donald, this is going to spark World War III. This is a lot worse now. This is getting a lot scarier. The U.S. commander did not directly specify what possible decision he has come to in regards to the shipments. All right. If this was Joe sending Tomahawk, a lot of people would have been very upset, including MAGA would have been upset, chanting, "He's about to take us to WW3." Reuters reported on October the 2nd, citing an unnamed U.S. official and 3 other sources familiar with the discussion, that the U.S. commander is unlikely to provide Ukraine with the missiles. Officials told Reuters that Washington is more likely to provide shorter range system or let European allies buy long range weapons for Ukraine. The Tomahawk, a key part of the U.S. arsenal, can fly a low altitude and perform invasive maneuvers and be reprogrammed mid-flight. Crane currently relies on Western supply Storm Shadow missiles, which have a range of 250 kilometers, that's 155 miles, far shorter than Tomahawks. Now the Bear maintain a significant missile advantage, regularly striking Ukrainian city with Kalib cruise missiles and Iskander missiles. The discussion about Tomahawk comes as U.S. Commander administration starts supplying equipment to Kiev through a NATO-supported agreement. So basically, Donald is saying, I'm selling the alliance the Tomahawk. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but it's none of my business. If something happens to the Bear, it wasn't my fault. Alright, so it says here the first aid package approved September 16 included Patriot and HIMARS. Alright. So I believe if the Bear, Russia, if the Bear get hit by Tomahawk, they're going to drop Orishnik. And that's going to be ugly. So again, guys, the U.S. commander announces from the Oval Office that he has made the decision to provide Tomahawk, which have a range of between 500 up to 1,500 miles to Ukraine, but states that he still has some question about how they will be used and what Russian target will be struck by the Ukrainian armed forces. Well, Donald, you better be ready. You better be ready, because they're going to drop Orishnik. And I pray that no one is wiped out from that thing. So again, if the Bear dropped Orishnik, again, that would be Donald's fault because he sent the Tomahawks. And he knows what he's doing. He's sending it to NATO. NATO is buying it, but still, we are the one that gave the equipment. Alright, give me a second here, guys. We're going to go with this news now. The U.S. commander threatened to use emergency powers to bypass court and deploy troops. Things are not looking good in 2025. We're seeing a lot of stuff under the Donald. Alright, so let's see what's going on here. Please share the video, like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell. A federal judge allowed the U.S. commander deployment of National Guard units to Illinois to proceed despite Governor J.B. calling it unconstitutional. Texas Guard troops were reported en route to Chicago. Man, they basically told the governor, hey, we don't care what you say. We're still going to send those National Guards. So once again, Texas Guard troops were reported en route to Chicago, while a similar deployment to Portland faced legal obstacles and court challenges. The U.S. commander to invoke the Insurrection Act, escalating tensions as local leaders push back against federal troop actions. All right, so let's see what's going on here. A federal judge on Monday declined to block the deployment of National Guard units to Illinois, a mobilization that the state's Gov. J.B. labeled an unconstitutional invasion by the federal Gov, even as the U.S. commander threatened to assume emergency powers to bypass court battles and send in the troops. So again, the judge and the mayor and the governor, they basically told Donald, you can't do that. Donald's about to use the emergency power and say, forget you guys. The judge's ruling in Illinois, which allows the U.S. commander order deployment to move ahead for now, came as a military official said 200 troops from the Texas Guard were headed to Illinois. A similar effort to deploy Texas troops in Portland, Oregon, has been blocked by a judge for now. As the legal battles intensify, both sides engaged in an increasingly constant war of words, with administration officials accusing the protester in Portland of engaging in insurrection and officials in Chicago accusing federal forces of attacking demonstrators without provocation. The U.S. commander said late Monday that he was considering invoking the Insurrection Act, which will allow him to deploy troops despite any court orders to the contrary. We have an Insurrection Act for a reason, he said, adding, I do that if people were being taken out and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up. Now, once again, the governor of Illinois, JB, said that Illinois officials will use every lever at their disposal to fight the administration. Their plan all along has been to cause chaos, and then they can use that chaos to consolidate the U.S. commander power, he warned in the afternoon news conference. Man, things are really going bad. Chicago's like the big one. Then you have Portland. Man, there's a possibility. Next thing, give me a second here. There's a possibility the next thing will be martial law. That could be the next one. If things start to escalate, I think martial law would be, there's a possibility martial law would be in 2026, along with these wars. All right, so here's what else to know. Oregon appeal. The U.S. Commander Administration asked an appeal court to let it send troops from California or Texas to Portland, despite a federal judge's order late Sunday blocking deployment from any state to the city. Now, once again, the judge was appointed by the U.S. commander. It was unclear how quickly an appeal might be heard. All right, so we're going to skip a lot of this stuff here. It's like a war zone. The U.S. commander on Monday again described Chicago as a crime-ridden war zone. And in a legal filing, his administration depicted Portland as a hotbed of violence and chaos, with protests against immigration enforcement efforts. They're posing a significant impediment to the execution of federal laws, in danger of a rebellion, and conditions on the ground in both cities do not match those descriptions. All right, so that's where we're at right now. The U.S. commander threatened to use emergency power, Insurrection Act. And like I said, the next thing could be martial law. Okay, we're gonna go with the next one here, which is Iran. There's a possibility that Donald might drop the hammer again. And the reason why? Well, it seems like the nuclear facility survived. At least one of them, I guess. During the weeks ahead, I will be watching the Holy Land and Iran like a hawk. Prior to the 12-day war between Holy Land and Iran earlier this year, it was clear that something was up. Now, we are witnessing similar signs, and many experts are concerned that the very fragile cease plan that was agreed to at the end of the 12-day war could soon collapse. Persia is rebuilding their nuclear sites and is telling Western countries that there will be no more negotiations. Now, on the other side, the US and the Holy Land have both pledged that Persia will not be allowed to rebuild their nuclear program. In fact, on Sunday, the US commander publicly threatened to bomb Persia again. They were going to have a nuclear within a month, the US commander said, and now they can start the operation all over again. But I hope they don't, because we'll have to take care of that too if they do. Excuse me. So you want to do that, it's fine. But we are going to take care of that, and we are not going to wait long. Of course, the US commander knows very well Persia officials have repeatedly stated that they will never give up their nuclear program, and satellite images prove that Persia has been conducting construction work at two very important enrichment facilities. 3 months ago, after the US and Holy Land strike on Persia nuclear site, new satellite images show signs of construction work at two of its key enrichment facilities. Well, it's not over. An analyst of high-resolution satellite imagery captured by Maxar Technologies on September 18 reveals work on a new perimeter and tunnel south of the Natanz enrichment complex. Now, multiple construction vehicles are visible in the area south of the complex, while digging work appears to be underway. Images also show work to extend a perimeter around that same area. The Persians responded to the US commander warnings of more bombing on Monday. They called the sleeping giant a law-breaking land, and they made it clear that there will be no negotiation. Persia Foreign Ministry on Monday branded that the US a law-breaking, rejected any prospect of talks with Washington after the U.S. commander warned he would again drop the hammer on Persia if it resumes nuclear activities. Now, the U.S. commander public remarks amounted to an admission of a criminal and illegal act that only reinforce sleeping giant image as a violator of international law. It would be clear to the international community and to the Persian nation that the U.S. is a law country. Once again, this coming out from Persia. We have no plan for negotiation. The Persians have clearly made their choice. So how long will the U.S. commander wait before he pulls the trigger again? We were surprised by the U.S. commander timing during the 12-day war, and we may be surprised the next time it happens too. If we drop the hammer on Persia, one of the first places that Persia will hit will be our base in Qatar. And interestingly, the U.S. commander recently signed an order that makes any attack on Qatar a threat to the peace and security of the U.S., because they know Iran is seeking to hit that region. So the U.S. commander signed an order Monday offering a U.S. guarantee for Qatar's security, a significant commitment for the rising non-NATO Arab ally. The U.S. shall regard any armed strike on the territory sovereignty or critical infrastructure of the state of Qatar as a threat to the peace and security of the U.S., the order made public Wednesday read in no uncertain terms. In the event of such an attack, the sleeping giant shall take all lawful and appropriate measures, including diplomatic, economic, and, if necessary, military, to defend the interests of the U.S. and the state of Qatar and to restore peace and stability. When spoken of peace and safety, then sudden destruction shall follow. And again, dozens of sleeping giant military aircraft arrive in the Mideast, gearing up for what could be another military operation. Keep your eyes open All right, give me a second here, guys. I'm gonna go back on X really quick. Give me a second here. Alex Jones said, America is officially entering the Second American Civil War, and Trump is Abraham Lincoln trying to save the Union. Whoa. Breaking news. Helicopter. Once again, bird crashes on eastbound Highway 50 in Sacramento, California. Reports of multiple victims. Man. Wow. Man, that's not good. Breaking news. A bird crashes on Sacramento freeway. Multiple victims reported. A reached medical helicopter down Monday evening on eastbound Highway 50 near Howe Avenue in Sacramento. The Sacramento Fire Department confirmed multiple victims with at least 3 critically injured. It's not yet clear whether the aircraft was en route to or from a hospital when it went down. Emergency crews responded immediately, shutting down the freeway as investigations began. Once again, the FAA and California Highway Patrol have been contacted but have not yet released additional detail. The cause of the crash remains under investigation. Praying for those injured. That's the one right there. Ooh. Okay, I was not aware it was gonna show that. Give me a second. Give me. Okay, so that video, hopefully I don't get hit on this platform. But yeah, that video will be in my Twitter page if you guys want to check it out. Oh man, things are really going down tonight. Breaking news: 2 deputy hit at Emberville Parish Courthouse in Louisiana. Suspect gone. Well, suspect passed. Okay, give me 1 second here, guys. Texas National Guard deploying with riot equipment to Chicago. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said the elite Texas National Guard ever ready, deploying now. Wow. All right, so the big news right now is the helicopter. A lot of people's talking about it right now. Give me a second here. All right, so this is all the information, guys, beside the helicopter news. But what are your thoughts on the Tomahawk? I think the Tomahawk is the big one. Out of all this, the Tomahawk got to be the big one. So Donald is like, I don't want no escalation, Donald. Again, see, the sleeping giant is really slick. I'm sending equipment, but if something happens to Vladimir the Bear country, it's not me, all right? They did it. Come on, Don. Again, the sleeping giant is really responsible for so many biblical wars throughout the entire world. They just hide behind closed doors. They throw NATO under the bus, and Crane is a battlefield. So again, this is where we at right now, guys. So I will keep you updated when it comes to nation against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Let me just refresh the page really quick here. Yeah, this is all of it. This is all of it. All right, so please share the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I was gonna go live tonight, but yeah, I got home from my second job, actually my third job. All right, so it's been a really busy day for me. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a good night. God bless to every single one of you. For those of you that want to send us letters or prayer requests, you can send it to me, US Santiago, or my wife, Jessica Santiago, at 3432 US Highway 19, number 2, Holiday, Florida 34691. Once again, guys, $5 a month Patreon. We get to access to our live stream once a week. We talk about things that we cannot talk about on the platform. Also, I posted videos today. Those links will be in the comments box. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you all. Put faith and trust in Jesus Christ, for He's the only way, the truth, and the life. No one gets to the Father except through Jesus. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time later. Peace.